Hi, my name is Ron Van Beek, and I'm the Christian National Chaplain for the 5th Infantry Division. Here on Veterans Day 2015, America has the sobering news, tragic news. 22 veterans commit suicide each day in America. And over the last 15 years, then 25 times as many veterans have taken their own lives as what have perished on the battlefields of Afghanistan and Iraq. Sobering figures, a national tragedy. For Christian veterans, then, we are seriously off the right route. We need to turn around this idea that our life is so worthless, so impossible to live. We must turn that around again to the value of life, the sanctity of life that we once had a generation ago. And to help us find that road back, then I want to talk about a battle that we fought long ago, far away, that you may have forgotten, and that was on November 12, 1969. The 5th Infantry Division with 300 men was attacked by the 27th NVA Regiment at about midnight. Estimated 5,000 enemy soldiers. By 1 o'clock, we were in deep trouble. Our captain and most of our officers had been killed or wounded. The enemy had breached our perimeter twice, and they were beaten back only in hand-to-hand combat. Their enemy dead was within our perimeter. Worse, we were without bullets. We were getting low in ammo. Death stared us in the face, and seriously, at that moment, hope seemed to die. Suddenly, a great noise came from the sky, and a mighty red curtain descended down from the sky around us and protected us. God saved the 5th Infantry Division in that moment. What was that mighty red curtain of fire that came around us and surrounded us and fell on the enemy attacking us? It was a C-47 airship called Puff the Magic Dragon because it seemed to shoot fire out of the sky, and it was loaded with Gatling guns out of one side. Each of those guns could put a bullet in a football field in every square foot every minute. This Puff now flew slowly above us in a slow circle a half a mile high and laid that fiery curtain of bullets around us. When the first puff ran out of bullets, the second puff came and took its place. By the time he ran out of bullets, the third puff had returned again with another full load of ammo. All night long they fought. By 6 o'clock in the morning when the sun rose, we know that most of the 300 of the 5th Infantry Division were still alive, kept alive by the heroic efforts of Puff the Magic Dragon. Behind me is a picture of that battle, and as you can see, there is the mighty spray of bullets coming from the C-47 up here. You see red, but in between each red, as you know, is 5 real bullets. And here down below where it intersects with the ground is 300 men of the 5th Infantry Division who are desperately fighting for their lives. As I lay there on the ground that night, I vowed one day I would thank those men who were up there, who had shot so accurately and had kept us alive through the entire night. But when I returned from Vietnam, then like you, I simply wanted to forget about the horrors of Vietnam. Nearly 45 years later, just last August, I happened to be on a business trip into western South Dakota, and I seen a sign along the interstate that said Aircraft Museum, and instantly I remembered my promise of 45 years earlier that I would pay my respects at least to Puff, to thank her for saving our lives so dramatically that night. As I approached Puff, sitting on the steps nearby was a man with a Vietnam hat on. I said, "What was your name? What did you do in Vietnam?" He said, "My name is Bob Schilling, and I was the gunner on Puff." God had led me back 45 years later to this very man who had so dramatically saved our lives. The reason I tell you this story is to remind each of you veterans back 45 years ago, then none of us wanted to die. Each of us were desperately fighting inside of this cone, this curtain of fire. All of us wanted to live. But now when you fast forward to 45 years later to this day, then we read the horrific news that 22 of you per day are willing to give your lives up for free to the greatest enemy that you will ever find. We need to turn around your life. For you Christian veterans who imagine that you're so worthless, that you're so hopeless, that your life is so impossible to live, that there is nothing left to live for, then I must tell you that it is the father of all lies who is whispering that horrific lie into your ears. The suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. There is nothing, absolutely nothing in your life that can equate to taking your own life. And then I ask you to look back and to remember what we fought for, to remember that the God of the 5th Infantry Division who saved us so dramatically that night so many years ago, he is still alive. He's still able to do a mighty work and save you from all the troubles that cloud your life and have made such a dark despair descend upon you. Yes, I tell you to look to that God, look to the Bible and read of how Moses and the children of Israel traveling through the wilderness were in such a desperate strait as you were. They were bitten by all those fiery snakes. They were dying. And God instructed Moses to lift up the brazen serpent in the wilderness that all those who were dying could look, and in one look they could be instantly healed. But so also I tell you, the Lord has given that example in the Bible to point to the greater uplifted one. For in Scripture he has lifted up Jesus Christ his Son, that whosoever believeth on him might be saved. So I ask you, I tell you, I urge you, no matter how great of a sinner, how desperate of a life that your circumstances have created, for lost and undone and hell-worthy sinners, and Jesus Christ is still lifted up today on this Veterans Day for veterans just like you. Thank you.